What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Rebel Jiu-Jitsu podcast. I wanted to do an episode today, Sunday, 3:33 p.m. Talk about the fights this weekend. Tainan fought on Flow Grappling. Professor Johnatha Alves fought on Flow Grappling. There was a big IBJJF Grand Prix on Flow Grappling. It was an awesome event. Also last night, Saturday night, the UFC had a huge event in Vegas. So I just got done teaching my privates today, cleaning the academy. I have to get a new battery for my clock. The clock stopped on Saturday. But overall, fun weekend. 7 days a week I'm at my school. And the consistency is what gives you confidence. I'm all set up for a good week, ready to teach my 6 a.m. Monday class. And going there on Sunday, sometimes I have the day off on Sunday, and I just spend it with my family. But honestly, going in on Sunday just gives me a little bit more confidence going into the week. It makes me really feel like the week is going to be strong. I have a lot of stuff coming up. I'm doing like a family day next Saturday. I have a bunch of new students. So I like getting ahead on the week. Sunday's the first day of the week. I know it seems like it's Monday. That's the first day of the work week, first day of the school week. But when I was a kid, they say, hey, what's the first day of the week? It's Sunday. So it's nice to kind of get a strong start. Front load the week, get a strong start, and then the rest of the week is not as stressful. So let's start with Friday. So Friday I watched the IBJJF Grand Prix. There was a lightweight tournament with Johnatha Alves. There was a super fight with Tainan. These are two amazing jiu-jitsu athletes, great coaches. They're coaches at AOJ. They both coached when I was training there. And I brought them to my academy, Rebel Jiu-Jitsu in Boulder City. Come train with us. I brought them to my academy for seminars, both of them. I've had Tainan twice in the 2 years I've been open. Both of them amazing seminars. I had Johnatha a few months ago for an amazing seminar. Big fans of these guys. They're my favorite black belts to watch compete. Now, it's a difficult sport, okay? They're fighting other black belts that are amazing. And I think that's one of the interesting things about IBJJF competition that makes it different than UFC or even no-gi. In no-gi, they have rash guards on. Maybe they're shirtless. And sometimes it's black belts fighting black belts. Sometimes it's black belts fighting purple belts, blue belts. When it's two black belts that are really good at jiu-jitsu and have fought each other before, it's just going to get closer and closer. You're not going to see Johnatha throw some guy over his head and twist him up in the air and do a flying triangle, a flying armbar against another black belt like close to his level. That's, multiple time champion in different organizations. Their level is comparable, and it's going to be a close match. John won the tournament. He won the lightweight Grand Prix. I think he got like $10,000. But it was close matches. Like, he won by a couple advantages. They both scored 2, I think, 2-2, and then he won ref's decision. That's how it's going to be in the gi. It's a little bit more advanced. If their only priority was to make an exciting fight, they should have John fight a UFC fighter in the gi, and he would absolutely destroy him. But if they're putting on the two best guys, which Andy Marasaki is much better than some random UFC fighter, then there's going to be close matches. That is fine with me. It was still just a 10-minute match, so I learned a lot just watching it. But you have to expect it's not going to be like a blowout when it's really the two best guys. Tainan versus Isaac was a good match, but it's the same thing. Like, Isaac is head coach at Dream Art world champion black belt, really strong, I'm sure, right? He has a lot of ways to keep himself from getting submitted. So Tainan passed his guard, and then Isaac, he didn't turtle. He didn't give up his back. He stayed flat on his back, and even though his guard was passed, he was able to defend submissions. So again, like, Tainan really showed the victory, the clear victory. He showed that he dominated. I didn't like the penalties, like the stalling penalties. I think that's ridiculous. It's hard to hold someone down in side control, try to fight a black belt world champion, at least drinking protein shakes, if not any other supplements, right? And you have to hold him down in side control. That's hard. Can't get a stalling thing for holding someone down in side control. What's he supposed to do? Let him up? Even at the end, he kind of did, like, let him up to make it more action-packed and then pass his guard again. Same with John. Like, they started to give him almost like a stalling penalty, and I saw him look up. And I feel like that's when maybe Andy got his sweep. I really just don't want any interference at all from the refs. I like that there's points, so you could really decide a winner, and so that there's a clear-cut path to victory for the athletes that are competing. When there's no points at all and it's just submission only, there's no point to risk anything. So I like the points, knowing who wins, but the penalties, the disadvantages, I think there's a better way to do it. Again, like, Tainan was dominating. Had he got DQ'd for maintaining side control, that would have been ridiculous. He dominated the fight. So, super good matches. I love jiu-jitsu. I love gi jiu-jitsu. I love no-gi jiu-jitsu. I would like to see the gi jiu-jitsu keep getting bigger, and I think Tainan is someone that is really helping that move forward. In his interview, in his post-fight speech, he didn't curse at anyone. He didn't do anything disrespectful. It's harder to be the Mr. Nice Guy all the time, especially when people are attacking you left and right. So I have a lot of respect for Tainan and the professionalism he's bringing to the sport. He's someone that you could show your kids, this athlete, and, like, he's a great role model. And he's literally teaching kids class, like, being a role model for those kids at AOJ. I think that's awesome. He has a great family. He's doing this to make a life for himself and his family. And he's proving that you could be a jiu-jitsu champion without talking trash, without being disrespectful to anyone. Really great example of, like, a professional martial artist. Love it. So now let's move to UFC, what was it, 285? 258? I don't know. Numbers, I don't know. I'm a jiu-jitsu teacher, but really great event. John Jones fought in the main event. He fought Cyril Gane, a French kickboxer. So I don't usually bet on fights. I am not somebody that gambles. I gamble on myself. I invest in myself and work my butt off. At least I know that I'm working hard, and usually that pays off. But in terms of gambling, I don't like to gamble on other people. I have no idea what's going on in their lives. Someone might look big and strong and ready to win a fight, and then you find out they tore their hamstring and went into the fight anyway. You never know. It's a cage fight. Anyone could win. But that being said, out of all the possibilities to gamble on, John Jones is a pretty safe bet. Okay, John Jones, he's fought, I think, 14 title defenses. That has to be the most of anyone. He's never lost a fight in the cage. He has almost 30 fights. He's never lost a fight. So he's like 26, 27 fights. He's never lost. So for me, okay, he's probably going to win. That was my first thought. He's probably going to win. So I asked my students on Saturday's class, hey, any bookies in here? What's going on? Anybody know a bookie? I'm from New Jersey. So apparently now there's apps you could bet on, all this futuristic stuff. One of my students gambles on the UFC fight sometimes. So he said, yeah, coach, I could put you down. What are you looking to do? What are you looking to take? So I said, okay, I want John Jones. He's going to win. I want him to take him to win. They said, okay, the way it works, you put $100 on John Jones. He's the favorite. So you'll get back like $50 or something. Not exciting enough for me. So I said, okay, what is it if he wins by submission? Oh, well, if he wins by submission, then it's 4-1. So if you put in 100, you make 400. I thought about, okay, John Jones, amazing grappler, great submissions. Sorry about that, guys. My wife just called me when I was talking about John Jones's submissions. I'm on my way home. I'm just doing a quick podcast. But anywho, John Jones, great submissions. He tapped out Vitor Belfort after almost getting his arm broken. He choked out Lyoto Machida. He is a beast. He taps out a lot of people. I think when it comes down to someone bigger and stronger, in my head, I was like, all right, he's not going to stand and bang. He's going to try to take this guy down and submit him. So I guess all my years of jiu-jitsu paid off finally, because then they went and fought. He took him down the first round, tapped him out. And the only bet I've placed in the UFC ever, I was completely right. I put down 100, won 400. Definitely happy with those results. So, who knows? Maybe I should start betting on UFC fights. Maybe I'll just take the money and run, because the house always wins, guys. All right? I'm lucky I got out of this one alive. I'm not doubling nothing. I'm just going to take my money and maybe get a new show-your-roll gi. So, other fights on the card that were exciting. I was excited to see Bo Nickel. That was the first time I watched him fight live. To me, he's kind of like John Jones, right? Awesome wrestler. You see him standing next to some guy with big muscles. You don't necessarily think he's going to take them down and dominate him. It's not about muscles. It's not a bodybuilding contest. So these wrestlers, these grapplers with 10 years of grappling, 12 years of grappling, 15 years, when they grab a hold of you, it's a little bit different. And it's not something you just see. It's not a bodybuilding competition. It's a cage fight. So watching Bo Nickel, awesome performance. He choked out his opponent in the first round. Similar scenario to John Jones. The women's championship fight. Pretty shocking to see Grasso choke out Shevchenko. That's the girl's name, I'm pretty sure, Grasso. Choked out Shevchenko. Shevchenko threw that spinning back kick, missed, didn't really have the right distance for it, and the girl jumped on her back and choked her. That's the coolest thing about jiu-jitsu and MMA fighting is you could be losing. If you choke them out, you win. You could be down 10 points. If you choke them out, you win. Football never happens. Soccer never happens. Basketball never happens. You can't just get a good, awesome slam dunk and win. You have to come up with those points. In fighting, you could be losing the whole time and win in the last minute. That was kind of what happened in this fight. Shevchenko was winning. She was losing the boxing. Then she started taking her down. They got stood up, which was kind of like I disagreed with the stand-up from closed guard just to, I guess, make the fight more exciting. The ref got nervous, stood them up. The fight continued. Before the choke, she also got illegal upkicked, Shevchenko. So it was like a little bit of controversy for sure. But in the end, Shevchenko got choked out. Grasso got the sub. She showed great jiu-jitsu and great boxing, Grasso. So she could win. Shevchenko is a beast. She's so scary looking and all that. So serious. Some of the stuff she does with with her grappling is like more like judo style, where she's like doing these like headlocks, the spinning back kick stuff, like giving up her back too much. She gave it up and she got choked out. So it's almost like she's doing that more old school, almost like catch wrestling judo style grappling, where Grasso like had a little bit more modern jiu-jitsu and defended the attacks from Shevchenko taking her down. She defended, wrapped up some guillotines, made space, got back up, and it was time to get on her back. She took it. She choked her out. It was on the face. Just shows you can't defend a choke with your face, guys, okay? Like Nicky Rod says, anything under the eyeballs, you're going to get got. So that was a cool fight. John Jones was a good fight. Tainan, amazing fight. Johnatha Alves, amazing fight. It was a cool weekend. Lots of big events. Cool to see this sport move forward, both the sport of MMA and the sport of jiu-jitsu. When I was a kid, I was reading and watching John Jones stuff on AOL. I remember watching on AOL the interviews with him and Ariel Helwani. I remember when he became the youngest light heavyweight champion. He took Rashad Evans' spot, and they fought. And he's been dominant for a long time. So pretty funny. I finally put a bet in, and it paid off big. Again, even with the gi, like, amazing to be watching jiu-jitsu in the gi, on Flow Grappling. When I was a kid, it was just reading forums, reading about the results. Barely anything on YouTube. Budo videos, you'd have to order the VHS, the DVD. So the sport's coming a long way. Cool to be a part of it. But yeah. So thank you guys for listening to Rebel Jiu-Jitsu Podcast. Today's episode more of like a fight recap. I'm going to try to do these on Sundays after like a big weekend like this one. I'll be watching UFC fights, big Flow Grappling events, and giving my thoughts. All right. If you want to start your own podcast, download the app Anchor. You can record an amazing podcast without all the fancy equipment, just using your iPhone. You could do it in your car, maybe even on the way to work. Guys, if you're going to go buy a new gi, make sure you get a shoyu roll. It's pretty expensive, but it's worth it. You get what you pay for. Thank you guys for listening. Come train with us. Rebel Jiu-Jitsu Academy on Instagram. Rebel Jiu-Jitsu Podcast on Instagram. I'll see you guys on the mats.